June 21st, the first day of summer, also the first day of playoffs. The pitcher begins his windup. I take my two-step lead off second base, hop hop, as I dig my cleats into the dirt. The pitcher takes one look back, then locks into the catcher, a 6-foot 8th grade, soon-to-be varsity flamethrower behind the plate. The pitcher takes his windup and I'm off. He's going, the team shouts as I'm speeding down the baseline trying to get to third before the throw, heavily breathing as the catcher shoots up and unloads his throw. Hustling quickly the closer I get to the base as the catcher launches a missile down to third, I go into my slide. It's going to be close. The call is, crunch. I collapse to my back staring at the steamy summer sky. The third baseman applied the tag and the umpire ruled, out. As the coaches spilt out of the dugout and onto the field, immediately knowing something was wrong, in disbelief, I just stared at the sky trying to process what just happened. I looked down and immediately knew something was wrong. My teammate's dad, who is a doctor, runs out of the crowd, looks at the current state of my cleat that was jammed in the third base bag. The chatter is quiet, but so loud it sounds like millions of tiny voices in my head. Within an instant, the paramedic had already arrived as the crowd parted like the Red Sea as they wheeled the stretcher over. I feel the heat radiating off the summer dirt, limbs feeling unnaturally, as a numb, swollen lump sends a jolt that twisted through my whole being. One of the paramedics slices my sock in half to get a closer look at my leg while the other asks me questions, but it's all a blur. All I can hear is the low hum of murmurs from the crowd and the steady rhythm of my heartbeat in my ears. They lifted me up and asked what hospital my parents wanted me to go to. It all happened so quickly as they roll me over under flashing lights as, there I was again, laying on my back, looking up at the lights, this time in the back of an ambulance. Passing thousands of cars, flashing lights at the speed of light, all a blur. Looking down at my propped up legs, still processing what happened. Questions racing through my head. Am I going to be okay? How far are we from the hospital? Why does my leg feel unnatural? Are we winning the game? Where are my mom and dad? Just as I wrap my head around everything, the ambulance races around the corner and pulls up to the hospital. I'm immediately wheeled to get x-rays done. My nerves begin to flood my stomach as this picture on the other side of the screen determines what happened. The nurse then wheeled me into a small, sterile room with countless machines with a bed. Each has its own purpose. My mom is with me as my dad is watching my brother at home. The nurses then gently lifted me out of the wheelchair and onto the bed in my room. As they adjusted my leg, I winced at the slightest touch. "Doctor will be in soon," she said, offering a sympathetic smile. All I remember is looking at the clock. As each minute of uncertainty ticks by, turns into hours. Time dragged on like an eternity. "I'm sure it's going to be okay," my mom said, squeezing my hand, but her voice wavered. We all knew we were waiting for something we couldn't control. Time passed, as my mind drifted between the memory of that slide along with the possible outcomes. What if there was a break? Would I need surgery? What about baseball? Before I get a chance to finish my thoughts, the door finally creaks open. "Well," he began to say with a steady but serious voice, "we've reviewed your x-rays and have determined you have a pressure fracture in your tibia with a chip in your fibula. You will have to come back tomorrow for adjustments and your cast." I have never broken a bone before, so the thoughts of uncertainty with a mix of nervousness are now churning in my stomach. After a sleepless night, my mom wakes me up first thing in the morning. "Time to go get your cast, sweetie." As I crutch to the car for the 10-minute ride to the office, we pull up and my mom gets a wheelchair for me, reminding me of the fragility beneath my skin. The doctor takes me back for my adjustments. "This should only hurt for a second," he says. 3, 2, 1, snap. I've never felt such discomfort intertwined with relief. That should do it. The cast was heavier than I'd imagined, an awkward, suffocating shell around my leg. The doctor told me it would take 3 months to heal, assuring me I'll most likely get the cast off a week before my first day of high school. As I processed this, all I could think about was, this has to be the worst first day of summer imaginable.